how's it going? Today we're going to be talking about what I think are the toughest things to overcome when starting with product photography. That's getting your first client and also getting testimonials. There are a couple of things that you need to get started. The number one thing that you're going to need is a camera. The number two thing that you're going to need is editing software. The third and final thing that we're going to be talking about is a Fiverr account. For the time being, while you're getting started, a cell phone is going to be just fine. Now, if you want to be taken a little bit more seriously further down the line, I would urge you to consider buying an inexpensive camera with an interchangeable lens. Now, this isn't me shitting on someone that does cell phone photography. Full disclosure, I actually got my first paying gig while I was still using only a cell phone. This was in 2020 and I had a Samsung Note 20. I was then able to secure enough money through product photography jobs to eventually buy my first consumer camera, which was the Canon M50. That's this camera right here. The Canon M50 with the kit lens was my first ever camera, and to this day I love this little camera. It is fantastic. That isn't to say that you can't get started with a cell phone like I did. The second thing that I want to talk about is editing software. Now, to get started, you can absolutely use free editing software like Lightroom Mobile and also Adobe Photoshop Mix, both available on the Android and Apple app stores, and they are free. Once I got a little bit better, I decided to subscribe to the Adobe photography plan, and that plan includes Photoshop and also includes Lightroom Classic. Now with that plan, it includes Lightroom Classic, the upgraded version of Lightroom Mobile, and you have full access to those two programs, which are very powerful programs. Even further down the line, I eventually upgraded my subscription to the Adobe Creative Cloud, which to this day I think includes over 20 professional Adobe software. The third thing that you need is a Fiverr account. Now, if you're not familiar with what Fiverr is a platform that connects buyers to freelancers like yourselves. Before we get into great detail on those top three things that we need, I wanted to share that this video idea came from a viewer and a subscriber like yourself. If you're interested in more information about product photography or monetizing your camera gear, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and also send me a DM on Instagram just to say hello or ask for any special requests or any videos that I can make for you that I can expand on any of the topics that I'm going to go over today. The most difficult part about getting started in product photography and getting your foot in the door is actually securing your first client. That's where Fiverr comes in handy. I first started on Fiverr in 2020, and at the time I set my gig price at $20. Now, $20 doesn't seem like a lot. Remember that the objective here is, number one, to secure your first paying client. Number two is to receive 5-star reviews. Why Fiverr comes in handy is because it's, in my opinion, passive. Fiverr encourages and pushes your gig out to potential buyers. And it also makes it easy for you to connect with them and begin a dialogue. Why I think that's so important is because if you don't have the skills to go out and market yourself, or the funding to go out and market yourself or advertise for your brand new business because you're just getting started, Fiverr is a wonderful platform to kick that off for you. I personally set my first Fiverr gig at $20 because in 2020, that's where I believe my skill set was priced at. And I also wanted to make sure that I secured that first client. When I secured that first client, I'll post some pictures here about the product that they actually hired me to take pictures of, and I'll give you some examples. So while using Fiverr and setting up your gig, it took me about 2 to 3 days to actually begin getting clicks and begin getting inquiries about my Fiverr gig. After a couple back and forth emails or a couple back and forth messages, again through the Fiverr platform, he decided to hire me as his product photographer for this particular job. Remember, the number 2 thing about this is making sure that you get positive reviews and testimonials. You achieve this by delivering awesome customer service, having great communication skills, and the last thing is over-delivering. Now, a lot of people may say that you only want to give exactly what the client is paying for, but at this stage in your career and at this stage of your product photography business, I really encourage you and highly recommend to over deliver. So for example, for this gig, he hired me for $20 and 10 images, 10 edited images. The end result ended up being probably 20 to 25 images, but I actually took about 50. And the reason why I took 50 was because, again, it's that over delivering. He only paid for 10, but I delivered 15 or 20. I kept another 10 or 15 great images so that after the job had finished, I could piecemeal him and give him a couple more edits just to make sure that I was the first person that he thought of if he ever launched another product or he came back for more images. I wouldn't have to reset all of my stuff, and I wouldn't have to reset the entire scene. I could just deliver images that are already sitting on my hard drive that I had edited on the first go around. So after the job was completed, I over delivered. He gave me a wonderful review, and I'll post it right here so you can see it. A week or 2 weeks later, I shot him a couple more images, and over the course of another month or so, I shot him another image just to make sure that he was I was fresh in his mind. And that actually worked for the first client because he hired me again and hired me to do a video ad, which was another gig that I had posted at that point. So emphasis on going above and beyond on this platform, because again, what you're trying to do is get great testimonials. Why testimonials is so important, why you have to do this over-delivering strategy at the very beginning, is because testimonials themselves are assets. And I'll put a bunch of testimonials here so you can see them. Every single one of them I took snippets of from the Fiverr platform, and I used those later on to market myself outside of Fiverr, and I collected the images from other gigs that I got doing the exact same strategy, having a very low price point and increasing that price point over time. So for example, the first job that I got was for $20. After I secured and delivered that job and I got a 5-star review, the Fiverr algorithm is gonna pick up that success, right? A completed job in a timely manner, a high review, and a great testimonial. They're gonna push you even more, and you might even get the Rising Talent badge, which is something that I had almost the entire time I was a brand new seller. After securing that job, delivering that job for $20, I edited my gig again and doubled the price from $20 to $40. Now more people were seeing me because of the over delivering, the 5-star review, and the conversion rate. So more people are seeing me at a higher price point. At that point, I was getting a lot more inquiries. Again, I'm gonna put some demonstrations of some of the jobs that I did here that I was able to secure. And this strategy of increasing my price worked for an entire year. Getting started. My goal isn't to become super wealthy or super rich with this strategy, right? My goal is to, 1, secure my first client, which check mark. Number 2 is to continue to get positive testimonials, because testimonials are what validates you and gives you authority in the space. So after getting more and more jobs at a low price point, over delivering, the algorithm again picks you up and picks you up. And I did this for over a year till I got to about $250. After $250, I was able to complete another job at that price point, over delivered again, And then I increased, as soon as I completed that project, I increased my gig price to $500. Now, I'm not saying that I'm gonna continue to double my prices, because at this point, I got all the way up to $1,000. I actually invite you to go and check out my gig on Fiverr. And we're gonna step into the laptop here in a little bit, and we're gonna talk a little bit more in depth. But right now, we're gonna jump onto my laptop, and I'm gonna do some screen recording, and I'm gonna show you exactly what my gig looks like. And I encourage you to do something similar, if not the exact same thing, because I've had some success with this. Okay, so here is my Fiverr profile. Right now, I'm in the selling. And this is my my profile. If you go to Fiverr and you go to search, you'll be able to look for my profile like this. Type in "take my picture," enter, and I should be the first one, because I think that I'm the only one with the unique name. You can see here that I am selling 3 different packages at this. I will take great pictures of your products. Basic, standard, and premium. The basic starts at 800, it goes to 900 for the standard, and 1,000 for the premium. Go ahead and take a look at some of these, what's included in the plans for each one, just so you can get an idea. For the basic, I'm offering 5 photos for 1 product, photo retouching, removing of the background, and the product prep. For standard, I'm offering 10 photos. I'm offering lifestyle staging, in addition to everything that was available in the basic. And then premium, I offer 10 photos per product for 1 product, photo retouching, the live model, which is myself, and hands if needed. A lot of people ask for your involvement with the product, or you to be interacting with the product. That's going to cost extra, right? Lifestyle staging, infographics, and the product prep. This is why I wanted you to see my my gig here, and why I'm taking you on this, showing you this profile here. About this gig, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I encourage you to go to my profile and check it out so that you can get some ideas. Go ahead and copy and paste this and make it your own. What I do want to highlight, though, is it's very important that you have a couple of these disclaimers at the very bottom. It's very important, because if you don't, you might get yourself into a little bit of trouble. Please do not order until I have received your product. Fiverr has an interesting way of starting the clock on you. I have everything set for 10 days. If somebody starts a gig or makes a purchase from your gig, your time starts. So your 10 days starts from then, the moment that they hit accept. And why that's not good is because oftentimes, if somebody didn't overnight something, it may take 2 to 3 days for you to get their actual product. And why that's why that's bad is because you gave yourself 10 days to do something, but the product doesn't arrive in 3 days. It takes away from time from researching and all of that stuff. So that's why it's critically important that they don't accept the gig until you've made confirmation from the of the product, that you've received it, that you can confirm that you've received the product. Very, very important. Going down a little bit further, please do not order until I have received your product. Please note, if specific props are desired, the client must provide a prop budget. Why that's important is because some buyers are going to want their product stylized with a specific props in mind. I had a client that was it was something that could be used at the park, that would stake into the ground, that would serve as something to hold wine glasses or a cheese board or some sort. And they wanted to have like a picnic sort of theme. Well, in my arsenal of product photography props, I didn't have anything related to picnic stuff, so I had to purchase all of that stuff. But before I purchased it, I made sure that they understood that I needed, the product needed to be funded, or the product props needed to be funded by the client. So that's why I add here, if specific props are desired, the client must provide a prop budget. Now with this, I didn't get greedy, and I wasn't gonna upcharge or upsell what the props cost. I used Amazon, and I encouraged the buyer, if they do want some props, The buyer already had my PO box or my address to my studio. So I asked them, if they feel comfortable, go ahead and buy the products that they want, ship them directly to my house, or I would do the shopping for them and send them an invoice for it. The second thing is the client must provide a prepaid return label if you need the product returned. Some people only have one or two variations or one or two samples of their product because they haven't received the full shipment from wherever they're sourcing their product from. So some clients may want their one and only product sample that they have returned to them after you've completed the job. And that could come out of your pocket if you don't clearly specify that if they want their product back, they need to provide a return label back. I will store products for 30 days. If they don't automatically include a prepaid return label, I will gladly store their product for up to 30 days. After that, they forfeit the product. And also, you don't want to be keeping and storing. If you get 100 orders or 100 sales through Fiverr, you don't want to be keeping 100 products that you may not want or have the use for laying around, because it could get messy, right? You'll have a lot of stuff. I have actually used other products that people have sent me that didn't want their product returned, or they gifted them to me after I finished their product photos. I've used some of their products as product props for other photos, so you can see it ends up accumulating after a little while. So it's important that you add the disclaimer that they must have a return label or they forfeit their product. This last part right here, I reserve the right to use the photos taken for my portfolio and Instagram account. Client tags will only be used with permission. Why I put that there is because after you've completed the product photos, those product photos are still assets of yours, and you can use them to market your own product photography business. If you don't reserve the right to use them, they may have an issue with you using the product photos that they paid for as your own marketing material. But you really don't want to get into a legal battle with anybody or get into any, so it's best to just say that up front. If you hire me, I reserve the right to use these in marketing material and only for marketing material. You're not going to use them to sell these exact same product photos to other vendors or other wholesalers. Why that's important to specify is because with the invention or with the why that's important to say is because with Alibaba or AliExpress, a lot of people may have the exact same product that they're sourcing from China or overseas. It's unethical for you to have somebody pay for product photos that they paid for because they've specifically needed to have unique product photos that they can't pirate from other people or steal copyrighted product images from other brands that have done the exact same thing. So Amazon isn't going to let you do it, or somebody can give you a copyright claim. It's unethical for you then to use the product photos that you've made for somebody and then sell those exact same photos to somebody else. You don't want to get into that mess, and it's not good practice. Honesty is always the best policy. So I've never had that exact situation happen, but I can only see it being disastrous. So be a good person. If somebody pays you for something, make sure that they are the only people that are going to have that those images or those product photography images. Disclose that you have the right to use those specific images for marketing material or for your own portfolio. These are just things, the tags that Fiverr makes you sign up for. This is something right here that this is my description. I'm a product photographer with the equipment and expertise to provide your online store with more views by improving the quality of your product images. You can see here that I have an average 4.9 rating with 17 jobs under my belt. Here at the bottom, we're going to go into the packages and how they differ from one another. Most people usually go for the premium or the basic, because some people may just want plain white backgrounds for their for their Amazon store. Everything is 10 days. If somebody wants it in express or quicker than 10 days, and they want it in 7 days, you add $250. I've found success with that because some people are in a hurry or they want their product launched as quickly as possible. frequently asked questions. Again, we're not going to go too deep into this right here. I do encourage you to go into Fiverr.com, type in my profile, and check these out and copy it word for word. Why not? Go ahead. We're not in competition with one another, and I encourage everybody to make a little bit of money on their own. Here we go. So these are right here. This is what I'm talking about, that these are assets. So I would go into the snippet tool here, and I would basically just make a new snippet and copy this right here. Then I would save this, crop it a little bit better, and I would do that for every single one. I have a total of 17 reviews, so I have right here, I'll pop them all up, 17 different people that have said, look at this one. One of the best product photographers to work with. The quality of the shots were phenomenal. I have high standards for my product photography and take my picture when above and beyond my expectation. He's well worth getting your product photos. And there's even more. That's phenomenal, right? I try my best. I haven't worked with anybody outside of the United States because I get a little weary of scams. So when it comes to scams, it's really hard to avoid no matter what platform that you're on, but please use common sense. The way that I've avoided being scammed or anything like that, or something being not truthful, is that I only work with people inside of the United States. And I think that a lot of people that are in the United States also want to work with other people in the United States, because I think the feeling of getting scammed is mutual. Remember that these people that are starting, the people that are starting businesses are real people, and they may not have a lot of funding to waste their time on sending stuff all the way to another country just to get their product photos. It's just something to keep in mind. Please use common sense. The old adage is, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Or how does it go? Well, yeah, something like that. So go ahead and read through some of these reviews, and I'm gonna show some of the pictures here. I have some other gigs here. I'll take 1 year's worth of product photos for $1,000. Just get creative. You know, see what's gonna work. I actually haven't gotten anybody to take me up on this one right here, but the way that I have it laid out is I've noticed that on Instagram, in order to gain a great following, you need to be constantly on Instagram and posting daily. So with this one right here, I'll just briefly go over it. It is related to product photography, but if somebody sends me their product, I will gladly take 365 photos for them, edit them in similar fashions or to their specifications, and then deliver them through the course of a year. And they can use that for their Instagram page or their social media, wherever it is that they want, so that they're always in somebody's feed. Just something to consider. Get creative. All right, so in this video, I attempted to really emphasize the importance of how to get your first client, and number two, emphasizing how important it is to get those reviews. With this method that I'm teaching you right now, it isn't about quitting your day job and then going full send on this product photography. It took me about a year to actually start developing the skill set, the mindset, and really understanding how product photography works, how to deal with clients. I want to emphasize how important it is to always act professional, be professional, and communicate throughout the entire process. How I've done that with this model is that once I receive their product, I have worked with them the entire time to make sure that we establish the look that it is that they want for their product photos. The way that I do that is I recommend for the client to go on Pinterest and start looking at other products in their exact same niche, and send me over screenshots of photos that they think would fit well with their own branding, with their own product. Use Pinterest as a tool and encourage your buyer to go onto Pinterest and look for other similar products that are the style that they're looking for. You know, a candle could be photographed many different ways. A snack food can be photographed many different ways. But if you guys get on the exact same page before they ever commit to working with you, there's less likely of a chance for them to not accept the deliverables at the very end, which is a whole nother headache on its own. One horror story that I had was working with one of my second client. This person was selling magnetic measuring cups. I delivered the photos to them. I did all of the things that I'm telling you right now. I encouraged them to go through Pinterest, screenshot a couple of images that they think they like their images to look like. We agreed on what everything should look like, and throughout the entire process, I sent them examples of my work in progress. Throughout the entire time, they were saying, yes, this is great, this is wonderful. When it came to deliver the photos, they hated every single one of them. After I said and remained professional the entire time, you know, we agreed on this, you've exceeded the amount of revisions that you wanted. They still didn't like the photos even after I made even another attempt at revising their stuff. It was a lot of back and forth, and ultimately they ended up canceling, and they weren't able to leave me a bad review, but it's something that I don't want you guys to go through. So again, I want to emphasize, have clear expectations. Make sure that you go through my Fiverr account and look at the frequently asked questions that I have. And if you'd like me to expand on some of these other things in greater depth, please follow me on Instagram. Also consider leaving me a comment down below, and I can expand on a lot of these things. The purpose of this channel is for you guys to make money with your very expensive equipment on the side or as your primary job. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I have one video planned out every single week for the remainder of this year. Adios.